Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be Ghost King 87 leading the totally awesome forces of Nurgle, totally awesome, versus Red Sky and the High Elves on the other side with the classic High Elf trifecta of monsters up in the sky. Going to be an Arcane Phoenix, Frostheart Phoenix, and a Sun Dragon. Now, this Nurgle build is nowhere even close to meta. It is some absolute wild shit. Now, what do Plague Toads and Pox Riders actually provide in this matchup? So they will trade okay into Silver Helms and Dragon Princes, but magic damage, armor piercing, there are elements of that. That's pretty good here. Against White Lines of Crace, against Rangers, those type of units, they can perform well. But against a lot of the rest of the roster, the Toads are really going to have some hard problems. So if he can find those good fights, maybe they'll be okay. And on top of that, the Toad Dragons can do some okay work against monsters because they have good mass. Still tricky, but yeah. And Tamarcon is going to be the absolute MVP here. If somebody's probably going to carry this, probably Tammy, because of his anti-large capabilities. If you get him fighting dragons, phoenixes, he'll do pretty well for himself. So for the build here of Red Sky going to be dropping a couple units of birds up in the sky. So he does have a Frostheart Phoenix, which has a lovely Blizzard Aura to slow things down and mitigate their damage. Arcane Phoenix, very good. I mean, all these magic damage monsters going to be brutal against the demons. And Sun Dragon as well, just a very cheap Walmart dragon for breath attacks against good Nurgle infantry. We have Larry the Radiant, who's going to be using Earthblood and Shield of Thorns. I don't really care for Shield of Thorns that much. Damage reflection against Nurgle isn't going to be that good anyways. Although if you were playing against like Khorne and you were worried about Slaughterguard, not Slaughterguard, but the ROR Bloodwake Berserkers, that could actually maybe be good as well. But Star of Avalorn is going to be very, very nice. And we do have some Sisters of Avalorn in the back. So we're going to do some fast forwarding while the two players posture up. The Toad Dragons gather around the side, and oh man, Dragon Princes. At least they're not the Fireborn. Fireborn would counter like all of these units. All right, first breath attack, Nurgle infantry going to be moving up, and the totally awesome flank is going to be on its way in. So Tammy, as well as the Plague Toads of Nurgle, and the Toad Dragon, one of my favorite units in the entire game. But going to be cruising up, looking to party here. We're going to see what they can grind down. So in the backfield, Dragon Princes is going to be circling, looking for good fights. And honestly, Dragon Princes should crush the Toad Riders, although the Pox Riders will put up a bit of a better fight. So Toad's going to be bro charging in, and they're just going for it, man. They are no holds barred. Dragon Princes versus Pox Riders. Dragon Princes should trade pretty good. In sustained combat, however, that's where the Pox Riders might start to shine. On the charge, the Dragon Princes will do very well. But in sustained combat, the Toads might be able to actually, out-trade them in some ways. However, with these Sisters of Avalorn doing magic damage in the back, just pounding them, I think this is going to be a good fight for the forces of the High Elves right here. However, in the meantime, we do have a big pit fight, and the Sun Dragon's getting its butt kicked. Tamarcon and his pet Toad Dragon. He felt bad riding the Toad Dragon all the time. He's like, I'm gonna let you kind of roll on your own. We're gonna take the saddle off today, and you live your best life. But yeah, that Sun Dragon getting whooped on really good by Tamarcon as well as the Toad Dragon. The Black Cleaver active too, which gives magic damage as well as a bunch of combat stats to nearby allies. So the High Elves are kind of getting out-traded in this brick a little bit. Nurgle does actually have a very strange triple cap with the Plague Toads on the outside triple capping and another Plague Toad engaging here. So this is a very big mistake by the Nurgle player in some ways. Piling in all three Toads. You could probably have used maybe two of the Toads to flank around the side earlier and try and push on the Sisters of Avalorn and shut them down. He does have the right idea here, getting some of the Marauders and trying to move those bad boys through to get on top of the Archers. But the Silver Helms and the various Cav units should be able to mitigate their advance. So back in the fight, Plague Toads of Nurgle getting worn down. Tamarcon going balls deep, taking down the Sun Dragon. So the Sun Dragon here is going to be sitting at 15 leadership and is going to be fleeing for the hills. In the meantime, Elves continue to get that Sister of Avalorn firepower here into the Plague Toads, and they are wearing those bad boys down. On the backside, Nurglings and Nurglings are going to be cruising over. That is going to be 10 capture weight right there. That will help reinforce that objective. Granted, Nurglings will not trade well into much of what's on the battlefield right now, and I think that the Plague Toads are starting to run out of steam here. Granted, they're not doing badly against the Dragon Princes, even though the Princes have healing, but the damage coming in from the Sisters is just a little bit too strong. Those Archer ladies back there, just like they do in tabletop, Sisters of Avalorn are insanely good, are putting some work in. Now, Tamarcon, a little bit trapped up on some of these units, can't get back here to help the Toad Dragon, and the Toad Dragon is in a bit of a hard fight versus an Arcane Phoenix. Head up, a Toad Dragon probably wins that, but I don't know, it depends on the Phoenix's procs, I guess. Arcane Phoenixes do have a rebirth, right? Yeah, they have the fiery rebirth ability. So if that procs, that can change everything. But it's still not an easy fight. Toad Dragons don't do magic damage. Arcane Phoenix, I believe, has some ward save and fizz res and fire resistance. Not relevant in this matchup, but yeah, it's got 30% resist, which is pretty big. So Tammy and company getting forced back a little bit. Nurgle is very, very ahead on points. We do see 3 Nurglings moving up towards objective 1 to grab that. On the outside, Nurglings going. So it's very clear that the Nurgle player is going to be he knows he's not going to win this fight, right? So what he's doing is he's calling in mass amounts of infantry. to try and target the objectives. Granted, the value is close, but both sides have healing. Nurgle's gotten a little bit of healing from their Nurgle caster. High Elves have a ton of healing, though. Larry is no joke. She can rival Nurgle's healing for sure. With the Star of Avalorn, the Earthbloods, all that goodness. And it looks like the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle being hunted. He is on a Rot Beast, which is a good call. Curse of the Slug activated on these SEs, which is very smart, and he is going to be trying to escape. So thankfully, our beloved Toad Dragon has gotten away. He's gotten about 1,300 value. Uh-oh, he's going to be throwing up on those guys. He does, and he melts a couple of the cav units on the way in, and they do get hit by the Suffocating Blast. Going to be lowering their stats a little bit for the engagement, but yeah, as strong as Toad Dragons might be, fighting a 2v1 versus, and technically 3 with Reavers as well, versus big monsters of the High Elves, is going to be a losing fight. Tamurkhan back here battling the Warlions of Krace. Nurgle still has all 3 objectives. We have 10 capture weight camping in the back, but the Dragon Princes should be able to get in and bully these Nurglings really, really bad. And the Pox Riders have finally worn down. That was a big mistake there, this fight. That was probably one of Nurgle's biggest blunders. They could have also retreated back and tried to force the... Like, if you retreat back a couple steps here, force the cab to chase you down, then it forces the Sisters to move up further, at which point you can flank them, jump them with Furies, all sorts of stuff like that. So Nurgle infantry getting bullied a little bit, obviously by the big monsters, as well as the Warlions of Krace, which again have very good anti-infantry. And Tamurkhan's coming back in. Tamurkhan is definitely what's needed here. Getting Tamurkhan to bully one of the dragons away would be very, very big. And here comes the Nurgle Sorcerer, which is, again, a very good fighter. Good combat stats, armor piercing, poison. Get the Nurgle Sorcerer to jump on top of the Sun Dragon with Tamurkhan and call it a day. On the outside, Plague Toads and Nurglings are chilling there, and the totally awesome Toad is back. He has returned, and this guy loves his Toads, man. He's got another Plague Toad on the way in. Plague Toads will trade okay into Silverhelm. Silverhelm's on the charge, should win it, but it depends on who gets the charge, really. So Star of Avalorn activated by Larry, so Lariel the Radiant going to be dropping a fat heal on the 2 birds. That's going to be giving him a whole bunch of work. Toad Dragon throwing up once again on some of the advancing Silverhelms who get hit by the Suffocating Blast. And it looks like Tammy's a little bit outmatched here. I mean, Tamurkhan does have a Chaos Sorcerer nearby, but the Nurgle infantry are wavering and terrified, so there's going to need to be some reinforcements. Things like Plague Ogres could be okay, or Rot Knights. Those are both good calls for sure. And speak of the devil, we do see the Plague Ogres being called in, so the Great Opens are going to be advancing up, and they'll be very good against this army. They will be weak against the Reavers, but against any of the monsters, should be very, very nice. Plague Ogres, I believe, do have ITP as well, so that's really, really nice. These guys won't run from the big monsters. They'll stand and fight until their leadership breaks, and that is very, very good. So Toad Dragon going to be fleeing. We're sitting at 1,200, 1,150, so he is out of there. Side objective belongs to Nurgle, and the objective 1 looks like it's going to be flipping right now. Nurgle obviously can win on just one objective, but man, oh man, it's going to take a long time. And those monsters are still very much alive for the High Elves. You know, a couple High Elf monsters could easily break the back of that defensive position over on objective 3. Nurgle Sorcerer pushed back, and looks like overall both Phoenixes are full health. That is really bad for Tamurkhan. And now Nurgle knows it's going to be a Helm's Deep. So Ghost King is going to be heading over to objective number 3 right here, and he's going to be calling in infantry for sure. Or I guess, you know, just Plague Toads. Why not? We're already on the Plague Toad train. Let's get more of those guys. So we got some more Plague Toads and Nurglings fighting over here, but there are Rangers as well as Silverhelms and a couple Reavers. And it looks like the Arcane Phoenix is going to be coming over to try and turn the tide of the fight. Sisters of Avalorn are also pretty good melee fighters. They have good stats, good enough to beat a Nurgling unit. So definitely I would like to see the High Elf player come over here and use their 5 capture weight. Like, this is a mistake by the High Elf player. You need to get all these Reavers on top of the point and also get the Sisters of Avalorn. You would have this point right now. It would be yours. Granted, with the Plague Ogres there, it's a little bit dangerous. Yeah, so the Plague Ogres are maybe going to stabilize that point. We'll have to see. So Heralds of the Wind, nope. Basic Lyrian Reavers are on their way out. In the back, it's going to be Silverhelm, so just more, you know, basic shock cav, as the Toads and Tamurkhan are going to be sitting down and kind of preparing to defend this objective. Stream of Corruption activated, a little bit of a swing and a miss on that cast, did not really hit the Reavers. And how is this going to go for the forces of Nurgle? Does not look like it's going well. Though the Plague Ogres will uptrade into a lot of these units. I mean, they're going to bonk these cav units down pretty effectively. It's just kind of a numbers game here, and they're not going to be good against the Sisters. Sisters have probably good enough stats to hang with Plague Ogres, and Plague Ogres don't have the best melee attack, the Great Opens, because they're a unit that you either bring the anti-infantry version or you bring the anti-large version, and they're not going to be exceptionally good against things they're not spec'd against. And in this case, there's a lot of infantry here, including a full health unit of Rangers. That objective for sure should be going to the forces of Asuryan. So on the other side, another pit fight. Tamurkhan going to be trying to Giga Chad this and put this game on his back. I mean, the value is close-ish. Ghost King is actually up a little bit, and he has gotten some decent healing this game, but I think that the Nurgle healing has been a little bit more impactful. Not Nurgle, High Elf healing has been more impactful. And yeah, we don't even have healing spells on Nurgle, actually. It's going to be Miasma and Stream of Corruption, but that does trigger the Children of Nurgle lore passive, which is going to be healing the entire army, which is very nice. So there is healing for Nurgle and Fecundity as well, which is the army ability. But yeah, not as much as Larry. Larry with the Earthbloods and the Star of Avalorn for sure has been able to feast. Back here, Plague Toads and Ogres going to be overwhelmed. Looks like the High Elves are going to win this, especially with the Arcane Phoenix nearby. But Nurgle, you know, still putting up a good fight right there. Really, I think that the Nurgle player at this point, you just Helm's Deep as hard as you can on Objective 3 and there are some back capture tactics. Like you could like push Objective 3 hard, and if they get so desperate that they abandon Objective 1 to try and get troops across the map to get you, then you could call in like 2 Nurglings or maybe like 2 units of Poison Warhounds to try and snipe the back objective. You know, some cheeky tactics that you can execute with the objective play. So Plague Toads moving, Silver Helms trading pretty well into them. Marauder of Nurgle is certainly going to be what the Doctor ordered as Tamarcon continues to put a whooping on this dragon. Shield of Thorns activated again. Not a big fan of Shield of Thorns, but still, you know, fun to see some innovation there. And the Full Health Sister of Avalorn, they have been the MVP of this game, this unit. The Sisters of Avalorn for the High Elves have straight up put this game on their back and have been doing such freaking good work. So they're going to be shooting into the Plague Toads here and wearing those guys down. One of them is going to be crumbling. Nurglings arrive on the point, but Rangers going to be flanking them. And looks like more Nurgling capture weight coming in. So that is going to be 10 capture weight, but man, oh man, that's going to be tough. Because like what you do if you're the Elves is you rotate these Rangers over towards Objective 3. And Nurgle is not going to be able to, you know, blitz a middle objective from their spawn quickly. You would be able to react with some of your mobility or bring these guys over and help out. Here, the Plague Ogres, like I said, not super good against the infantry. They're going to get dragged down. But looking at the value of the Plague Ogre so far, 1,600. I mean, they were fighting Cav and also this Arcane Phoenix, who they've done quite a bit of damage to this game. It's been very, very good stuff. Earthblood activated on the Sun Dragon. Here we see the Nurgle Toads get worn down as the Marauders try and fight. And it looks like the High Elves are going to get this objective. Most likely, Larry's coming. We do see it belonging to Nurgle with the Nurglings arriving. But Tamarcon is not going to be able to solo all this. There's way too many infantry here for him, and Tamarcon is an anti-large character. He's done very good, 2,200 damage. You know, foot Tamarcon's like, you know, a bit cheaper than that. I think he's like 1,900 depending on the kit you bring, but can go up to 2,100. I like the Plague Ogre Colin. I think that's going to be pretty good. Over on the far side, it looks like the last of the Ogre forces have been broken. So Plague Ogres on that side have paid the Troll Toll, and advancing up are the Marauders of Nurgle. So they're going to be heading towards objective number 3, and the Chaos Sorcerer as well as Tamarcon are going to be grinding it out. And we'll see. I do think the High Elves win this grind, though. Although maybe with Plague Ogres arriving, if the Plague Ogres can bum rush the dragon, drag that thing down, maybe there could be something. But yeah, that's a lot of capture weight that's going to be dissipating here for Nurgle. Nurglings are going in the trash can. The other one's going to go in the trash can as well. Rangers really, really good against them. They don't have magic damage, but the anti-infantry bonus is pretty good. And Rangers actually got patched this patch as well. And last but not least, Sisters of Avalorn going to be putting an unholy Pound Town firepower into those Plague Ogres. Plague Ogres don't have any sort of missile mitigation. They only have 50 armor, so yeah, Sisters of Avalorn are going to butter their bread really, really badly. And the objective has it flipped. It looks like it's about to flip to the forces of the High Elves, and it has. Okay, so from here, I don't think, as long as the High Elves don't blunder, I don't think there's too many opportunities here. We do see the Plague Ogres being overwhelmed, a couple Toads coming in, but the Toads are just so hard countered by the Sisters of Avalorn. But what a weird, fun game, right? Like, that build from Nurgle like should not have worked that well, but it did because he, you know, had some good plays in some areas. And yeah, Red Sky handled it well. Red Sky calling in the Sisters and making sure they were focusing the demon units was very, very nice. But at this point, I just simply don't see a chance. So we're going to fast forward a little bit until maybe we see Nurgle get the objective back, but I highly doubt it. Plague Toads are going to be crumbling. All the objectives are being defended, so he's doing a good job making sure nothing cheeky's happening. Here in the middle, Rangers should be able to take Marauders, and the Sisters of Avalorn can rotate over and give a little bit of buffering. High Elves could also call in some mobility, some cav if they want to make sure. And it looks like the Reavers may be going to make their way across. All right, Nurgle's maybe teasing this objective a little bit. Rangers moving in here, guys, and the Sisters of Avalorn are on the objective, providing that capture weight. You know, Nurgle does have 1,400 points. Okay, this is getting interesting again. Have we perhaps underestimated the resolve of Nurgle? I don't know. We'll see on today's episode of Dragon Ball Z. On the outside, Objective 1 going to be owned by the Rangers. Objective 2 is going to be firmly owned by the High Elves as well. Should be able to win that. I think if the Sisters pile in, although Battletoads will be pretty good against all those units. We'll have to see. Tamarcon and company here. Are they going to be able to get through the Arcane Phoenix as well as the Illyrian Reavers and the Sisters? On the backside, we do see Silver Helms called in. That's going to be good for capture weight. That's going to be tough to break. Nurglings here are going to be taken down. Larry, of course, does do magic damage, which was nice against demons. So probably what you do is you win this fight with your Illyrian Reavers and Larry, and then you move around the back and you flank into the Marauders and the Battletoads here. Probably be able to kill them pretty quickly. In the meantime, the Frostheart Phoenix is back. So what you would want to do in this situation with the Frostheart Phoenix is probably not attack with it. You would want to leave it overhead to apply the Blizzard debuff because it's so close to dying. But if you keep it above the Nurgle army, it's going to be debuffing everything and providing a little bit more utility, I think. But we'll see. Sister shooting into the Plague Ogres, and we do see the Frostheart Phoenix getting attacked and double Nurgling. I mean, that's 10 capture weight. That's a lot. Moving in there, that is a hell of a lot. But as it currently stands, the forces of the High Elves, I believe, would win on just 2 objectives. So it's kind of doesn't matter too much for Nurgle. Nurgle's going to come in and maybe wrestle this point, but by the time they do, yeah, it's over. Now the 2-point victory is available for the High Elves. But what a scrappy comeback here. Tamarcon heard no bells whatsoever. Does start to get it, but then the High Elves are going to come over with all their cav once they clean that up and claim victory. Weird game, man. I've been getting a lot of fun. Like, we had a mass chosen victory the other day, the mass Toad Rush build. This is some truly forbidden tech from Ghost King. So shout out to my boy Ghost King. Looks like he was born in 87. So, I was born in 88. It's pretty close there, man. We're the old crusty Nurgle champions. And yeah, I love High Elf mobility mixed with High Elf monsters. I think that's one of the best ways to play High Elves. It's very fun. And yeah, the rest, what you do is you open up with... 2 or 3 monsters, and then you get like Mass Reaver archers, control the battlefield, Alpha Strike the slower armies. It's a really fun way to play. Hard to play, but very fun. Sisters of Avalorn definitely carried that game. 2,400 and 1,700 on that one as well. All right, GG to Red Sky and Ghost King. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you all on the other side.